Hi, it's the Rawesome Vegan Gal here, and today I am doing one of my healthy living topic videos, and I call this Bone Health and Dairy-Free Beverages. So we're going to talk about how to keep your bones healthy, because of course as time goes on in your life, your body changes, and you want to keep your bones healthy and strong for as long as you can, so you prevent other things from happening that would harm your body. So I actually have some information that I took from an article in the magazine called Taste for Life, and it's their May 2015 issue. And so in case you don't know, there are 206 bones in the body. They say from the penny-sized ossicles of the inner ear, in case you didn't know, the ears do have bones, without which we could not hear, to the femur, which is known as the thigh bone, which is the longest and strongest. So, as I said, bones do change, and up to age 30, we reach the optimum mass, and the body is faster at producing it and getting rid of the old bone. After that, it reverses, so it's much harder to regenerate. So the best time to work on your bone health, of course, is when you're younger. And then you can draw on that when you're older, and you're less likely to develop issues like osteoporosis, which can weaken the bones. And so, you need to be proactive about it. So one of the minerals that we need for healthy bones is calcium. So we're going to talk about calcium and for strong bones and teeth, but it also plays important roles in the body as well. Calcium helps with blood clotting, transmitting nerve signals, squeezing and relaxing muscles, releasing hormones, and regulating the heartbeat. And it's also found in nerve cells, body tissue, blood, and other bodily fluids, in addition to bone and teeth. So calcium is that important. The body does not manufacture calcium, so it needs it to help with the nerve, muscle, or circulatory system function. And it leaches out from the bones, which is why it's important to get your daily requirements through your diet and, if necessary, supplementation. And I'm not going to mention the supplementation. That's for you to decide on your own. I want to stick really with the food. And just so you know, people don't realize that. So when it says that the body leaches calcium, so calcium is a readily available mineral in your bones and your teeth. So if you acidify your body more so, then what happens is the body has to take it from where it's readily available to use it in the most important parts of the body. So for example, why do you think people's bones get more brittle and people start to shrink in their size? The bones are compressing, or their teeth start to get loose or fall out. That's because the minerals aren't there. The body elsewhere, it takes it to the most important places in the body where it needs it. Those places aren't as vital. It has to bring the minerals to the vital organs. That's what matters the most. So the other thing that's very important is that the body needs vitamin D to absorb and use calcium. So you want to make sure you're getting enough exposure to the sun, and I don't recommend the foods that they recommend, which are animal-based foods. I don't support that. So vitamin D, getting out in the sun, getting some sunshine. And also phosphorus and magnesium help with calcium absorption, in case you didn't know. So you might want to look at those two minerals as well. So now, what can you do for getting enough of the right nutrients for your bones, and which affect your skeletal health, because your skeleton is made of your bones? So one thing is to get moving. They say here, strength building and weight bearing exercises will increase the bone mass, and aim for 30 minutes a day. So it doesn't have to be that you have to even do it outside. There are things you could do indoors, or even in your own backyard. You could run up the stairs. You could do jumping jacks. That's weight bearing. People don't realize if you jump up and down. People jump rope. If you have a trampoline, if you don't have a trampoline, you could just jump up and down. You might not be able to do it for that long, because you might not be doing it all the time, so you might get a little maybe dizzy or off balance. So I don't suggest you do a lot, but do jumping jacks, and then when you're tired, just stop and then do it again if you think about it for a while. If you're doing something where you're listening to something on the people have TVs, I don't, or on the internet, you could do some jumping jacks, like while you're listening to my video. You could do some jumping jacks. So there you go. You don't have to waste time. You could always be doing that. And yes, but people want to lift weights, but people do body weight exercises, which is also, you know, like push-ups, sit-up, you know, sit-ups maybe not so much, but push-ups, things that are using your body weight. The other thing is, for healthy bone living, is minimize falling hazards, because falling puts you at risk for breaking your bones. So make your home of, you know, such where there's not ways for you to trip over things like loose rugs or furniture that impedes your walking, and make sure you have enough bright light. You can see where you're going, unless you're very attuned to your own space, and it doesn't matter. Also, it says here to incorporate balance building activities which will help prevent you from falling, such as yoga, tai chi, and dancing. So those help build your balance. Another important thing is to not do things like smoking and alcohol, because that impedes on your minerals. It actually depletes your body of these minerals. Another thing is sleep well. A study was done in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research suggests that sleep disruption caused by sleep apnea can negatively affect bone metabolism. The other thing is that I recommend, because at night is when our body creates the melatonin, and that's very important for healing our body, for preventing the body from illness. So is to get a pair of, or get eye shades. I have ones that are traveling ones that I can take with me. So you might want to check out online. I don't know if you can buy them in stores. But to sleep with them, sometimes they do fall off. But the idea is, if there's any light that gets in the way of your sleep, just even it doesn't matter. It could be just a tiny little dot from the button on your, I don't know if it's your smoke alarm or your carbon monoxide, and the light comes in. Any light that comes in will stop you from really absorbing that melatonin. So you want it to be completely dark. And if you want, you can get dark shades for your room. That's another option. So they say the stronger your skeleton is, the more active we can be at any age, and you want to take these steps. Now, the other thing I want to focus is on the food things you could do for your calcium, and they will be no animal-based ideas that I want to recommend. That's why I'm mentioning about the dairy-free beverages, because those as well, because I don't recommend anything from an animal. So options you could use that I would recommend are things like dark green leafy vegetables. I don't have any to show you at the moment, but things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, mustard greens, kale. There's also collard greens. There's also things like arugula, spinach. They're all dark green leafy vegetables. Chinese cabbage or bok choy, and I actually do have some Chinese cabbage here to show you in case you've never seen what it looks like. This is in the cabbage family, and it's got a milder flavor than things like bok choy. This is what it looks like. Usually the outside leaves can be a lot more green, but mine is kind of, at the inner parts of it. But it's not as dark as like a kale, but the leaves can be a little bit greener, and it's not as dark green as a bok choy. The other things are things like beans and legumes. So I have some beans here. I prefer getting, the beans are already prepared from a company called Eden Organic. They're Eden Organic kidney beans, I should say. The company is called Eden Foods. And I picked out some particular ones that are higher in calcium, like their kidney beans. And this is a 15-ounce jar. So in a half a cup, they have 6% calcium. That's pretty good. And then their navy beans over here. And I'll tell you why I choose these in a second. And also a half a cup has 8% calcium. That's quite a bit for the navy beans. And then the other one I have are their chickpeas, or garbanzo beans. And these have 6% calcium. So it seems like the navy do, and those are the ones I have. I don't have the other ones from Eden. So why do I pick Eden? I could just buy beans. I don't buy anything in bulk anymore, because in the bulk bins, I'm concerned about cross-contamination with gluten and different things. And if I would buy beans that I prepare myself, I'd buy them already packaged. I like a company called Bob's, I think it's called Bob's Red Mill. It's a very good company. And otherwise, I buy these. So this is a BPA-free can. You don't have to worry about the bisphenol A. And it's also organic and kosher. And they're the only company, the absolutely only company. First of all, they've gone organic before organic was popular, and I forget what year they started, but it was quite a long time ago. and they don't ascribe to the USDA label. They do their own thing, and there's no salt added, which you don't always find in canned beans. The other thing is they prepare. They're the only, like I was going to say, they're the only company that prepares the beans properly. Beans need to be soaked, which I'm sure they do, and then cooked with something called kombu. It's a seaweed. It's a seaweed that helps the body absorb the beans better, breaks them down so they're easier to digest. So they're the only company that uses kombu seaweed in their preparation. So that's why I also recommend them. And they are very good. So that's beans. The other thing would be things like almonds and Brazil nuts. I don't have any of those to show you here. And let's see what else. I was looking just at something here. If there was something here I wanted to say to you about calcium, no. And then things like sunflower seeds or tahini. Sunflower seed I do not have, but I do have a raw tahini, which is almost finished actually, from a company called Artisana. Artisana Organics. It's all organic and kosher, and I actually did a video of the Artisana products. If you check out my YouTube channel, you'll find them. And I will have links below this video to these products that I recommend, or just some of the things that I don't have products, but just food items that are good for your calcium absorption, or your calcium intake, I should say. So there are some other things that I found that are high in calcium that I want to recommend from a different chart that I actually once did already on vitamins and minerals. So where else can you get your calcium? In different fruits like blackberries, black currants, dates. I actually did a video on dates from a company called United with Earth, and you can check that out too on my channel. Grapefruit, mulberries, orange, pomegranates, and prickly pears. Now, vegetable sources of calcium. Amaranth leaves. If you've ever eaten amaranth, it's a tiny little pseudo grain, but there are leaves also that are edible. There's bok choy, Brussels sprouts, you mentioned, butternut squash, celery, broccoli, Chinese broccoli, it says, French beans, kale, okra, parsnip, spirulina, Swiss chard, and turnips. So there's quite a bit sources for that. I didn't know butternut squash has calcium too. Nuts, seeds, and grains. We mentioned almonds, amaranth, Brazil nuts, hazelnuts, are also called filberts. Oats, pistachios, and sesame seeds. So those are your options. I don't do anything from an animal, so I don't mention them. So that gives you a lot of options of what you can. And I will have a list. I don't know if I'm going to do the complete list, but I'll have a list of some of the items that you can incorporate that are good for your calcium intake. And now the other part of this video is about the dairy-free beverages. Now, some of these beverages, I'm not sure if they have, the ingredients do have calcium in them. They don't mention in the article. This is from Better Nutrition, October 2015 magazine. And they give you alternative recipes, which I'll just talk about briefly, for making your own milks out of nuts, hemp seeds, and even oats. So one of them they mention is a cashew milk, where they use the actual cashew butter, and they opt for honey, but I don't do honey, so I would tell you to do coconut nectar, which is like a syrupy or date syrup. And I've actually done videos for both of those products: coconut nectar from a company called Coconut Secret, and date syrup from a company called I Love Date Lady, I think it is. I'm not sure, but I could have a link below, or if you look up on my channel, search for date syrup, you should find it. So they recommend all you do is take 3/4 of a cup of cashew butter, 3½ cups filtered water, and the Artisana does sell cashew butter. That's a good company, Artisana Organics. And I also did try that out on my video. So 3½ cups water, 3/4 of a cup cashew butter, and 2 teaspoons sweetener. And then you just blend it up. So I am not going to write all this below the video because there's not enough room to write everything, but that's just an idea. Then they have a hemp milk where they use bananas. I don't use bananas, so if you want to opt for something else, but bananas give it the thickness. And I do have some hemp, I think I have some hemp seeds here. Did I not bring them out? I didn't bring them out to show you. From a company called Navitas Naturals. I actually have their chia seeds I wanted to mention. I didn't know chia is actually very high in calcium, and it's not mentioned in any of the articles I read. Chia has 10% calcium in 1 tablespoon. That's a lot. So here's the chia seeds, so you can see that. So they say for a hemp milk, the bananas, you use 3 large bananas, 4 cups water, and a 1/4 cup hemp seeds, and then just blend that up. And both these recipes make about 4 cups of the drink, the beverages, because they're using 4 cups of water. Now another option instead of water, if you want it to be a little sweeter, is to use coconut water. And Harmless Harvest, again, another plug, another one that I've done a video on reviewing their products. You might want to try that out. Then they say about oat milk. Now oat, you have to be careful with the gluten. They say oat doesn't contain gluten, but may be contaminated by gluten from processing facilities. So there's a company called Canyon Oats that I actually have met the owner of the company at a trade show, and they're the only company that I know of. They do everything in-house. They grow the oats on their property. They process it, everything. So there's 100%, because they've had their own gluten issues and celiac. So Canyon Oats, look them up. I actually have not reviewed them, but so they recommend in this recipe to use 1 cup steel cut oats. I don't know if they do steel cut, but they have other types of oats, and then 3 cups of water. And then here they mentioned that you would process it and then strain through the cheesecloth to get the milk out. I mean, if you want to keep it kind of thick, that's up to you. It's going to be a different consistency. The final one they say is vanilla almond milk. I do like almonds a lot, and I recommend that you soak your almonds beforehand, as opposed to the hemp seeds you do not soak. So this also makes about 4 cups. You use 3.5 cups water, 1 cup of raw almonds, and 2 large pitted medjool dates. You might want to soak the dates beforehand. It'll be easier to blend. And if you don't like dates really gives it a nice flavor. If you're opposed to using something like that and you just want to use a sweetener instead, it'll be a different thing. I don't know how much you'd use, but you could use coconut nectar or date syrup. So they do say to soak it overnight for 8 hours. And if you soak for more than 8 hours, you refrigerate it during the soaking time. And then you do discard the soaking water. You do not keep the soaking water. Then you combine the almonds, the dates, and blend them up. And again, you're going to strain this through a cheesecloth or a nut milk bag. Because the pulp, if it's too pulpy, it actually becomes more like a creamy kind of a different kind of a consistency. So if you want to have it like that, it's fine. But if you want for it to look like a milk, that's why you would do it through the cheesecloth. And then the pulp you could use for other things, baked goods or things like that. And then if you want to add, they did actually mention here 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. If you don't want to use the extract, you can actually get the vanilla bean itself. It's harder to take it out of the bean, the little beads, and it kind of gets a little messy. Or you can actually buy, companies do sell the vanilla bean powder itself. There's a company called Living Tree Community, who I reviewed on my channel as well, that carries, I believe, the vanilla bean powder. So those are some really good options. And almonds are also high in calcium, as are hemp seeds. I don't believe are as much. But the other thing is that is also high in calcium. Chia seems to be the highest. It's 10% for I think I said 1 tablespoon. 10% calcium, that's really high. That's very good. So Carob Powder. This is from a company called Foods Alive. So a lot of companies are getting plugs today. Foods Alive, I also have done many videos on my channel. You can check them out. And actually, Carob Powder has 6% calcium in 2 tablespoons. So this can be added to your nut or seed milks as well. So you could have added calcium. And if you want to use tahini to make a sesame milk, that would be another way to add your calcium. So you can get them in your beverages. So yeah, Carob is really nice. And this happens to be a really good, tasty Carob powder that I've had. And it's also kosher and organic and non-GMO and raw and certified vegan, so it's a really good option. So those are things you could incorporate, and they don't take that long to make. You know, the milks, the dairy-free beverages, I want to call them, I don't like using the word milk, are really good options to get your calcium, and they don't take that long to prepare. You know, only the one that you have to soak the almonds overnight. The rest is like literally like minutes. It's not even. You just take the ingredients, put it together, blend it, and you're done. And then you can keep it in the fridge. But I'm not sure if they say here how many days they're good for, how long they last. So I know I've made it in the past, and you know, maybe a few days, 3-4 days. I think after that it kind of starts to not be so fresh anymore. So, but since it doesn't take that long to make, it's a good option to do that. Besides the other things I mentioned, the beans and the bok choy, or green leafy vegetables, and what else did I mention? Tahini, and almonds, Brazil nuts. So you have many options for helping your body strengthen itself, getting it more calcium, making your bones stronger, and then the other activities that you can do that could help your bones as well. Something we have to all consider if we want to keep ourselves healthy and strong for the long term. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you for watching. It's the Rawesome Vegan Gal.